The wilderness was behind them. The promised land stood before them. The generation that had once feared the giants was gone. A new generation now stood beside the Jordan River, waiting to cross into the land their ancestors had dreamed about. The wind moved across the plains of Moab. The tents of Israel rested beneath the endless sky, and at the center of the camp stood a man who had walked every step of the journey, Moses, the baby hidden among the reeds, the prince of Egypt, the shepherd of Midian, the man who stood before the Pharaoh and said, "Let my people go," the man who watched the sea open before him, the man who spoke with God on the mountain, the man who carried a nation through the wilderness. And now he had one final message to give. The people gathered. Children sat beside their parents. Warriors stood quietly. The leaders of the 12 tribes listened. The desert became silent as Moses spoke. Remember the slavery in Egypt. Remember the night of Passover. Remember the waters of the Red Sea. Remember the manna that fell from heaven. Remember the moments when you failed. Remember the times God forgave. Remember every step of the wilderness, because the God who was faithful yesterday will be faithful tomorrow. Moses warned them the promised land would bring blessings, homes they did not build, fields they did not plant, vineyards they did not grow, and in their comfort they must never forget the one who gave it to them. The greatest danger was not the enemies ahead. It was forgetting God after receiving his blessings. Moses pleaded with them, "Love the Lord your God, walk in his ways, keep his commandments, let your hearts belong to him." Then Moses turned toward Joshua, the young spy who once believed when others feared, the servant who waited faithfully, the leader chosen for the next chapter. Before all Israel, Moses placed his hands upon Joshua. "Be strong and courageous. The journey is not ending, it is changing. The God who walked with me will walk with you." Before Moses would leave this world, he gave the people a song, a reminder, a testimony, a witness for generations. Because stories can be forgotten, but songs remain in the heart. Through every generation, they would remember their God was the rock, their protector, their rescuer, their faithful king. The desert winds still whispered, the Jordan River still flowed, the promised land waited, but Moses' final words would echo far beyond that day, far beyond that generation, and far beyond the wilderness.
I remember the waters opening wide, the fear we left on the other side. I remember the fire in the darkest night, the hand that led us by your light. I remember the wilderness years, the prayers, the doubts, the countless tears. But every valley that we walked through was a road that brought us closer to you. The years may pass, the seasons change, but your faithfulness remains. Remember the journey, remember His grace, the God of the desert will never change. From the mountains high to the valleys below, His mercy has carried us farther than we know. The next generation now stands tall. The promise is waiting beyond the walls. And though my footsteps end today, your love will lead them all there more. When my voice grows silent, let my